Look, I have been doing this job for 17 cycles now, and I thought I had seen everything. Every biological oddity the galaxy could throw at me. Every genetic aberration that made the Council's finest scientists weep into their datapads. But nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for the human female sitting in my observation chamber, casually destroying 300,000 years of established xenobiology. Her name was Maya Torres, 26 Earth years old. Brown hair, average height, unremarkable by human standards. But her DNA? Her DNA was screaming at us in languages we did not even know existed. I am Crix, by the way, senior xenobiologist at the Galactic Medical Research Facility, Station Helix-9. My job is simple. Catalog new species, run the standard tests, file the reports, go home. Boring work, mostly. The kind of boring that pays well and does not get you killed. Perfect. Then Maya Torres walked into my life and set everything on fire. Metaphorically speaking. Though given what I learned later, actual fire would not surprise me either. It started 3 weeks ago. The human exploration vessel Wanderer had docked at our station for routine medical screenings. Standard protocol. We test everyone who passes through, looking for contagions, genetic incompatibilities, the usual suspects. 99.9% of the time, it is a formality. Maya was the 0.1%. My assistant THRYNN, a nervous Valkyrie with too many eyes and not enough confidence, brought me the initial scan results. His primary manipulator was shaking. Not a good sign. "Sir, you need to see this," he said, his voice doing that high-pitched thing it does when he is terrified. I glanced at the datapad, expecting maybe a weird virus or an unusual blood cell count. Instead, I saw numbers that should not exist. Telomere lengths that violated every principle of cellular aging. Mitochondrial activity that would make a fusion reactor jealous. And her chromosomes. Oh, her chromosomes were doing things that made my head hurt. "Run it again," I said, because obviously this was a mistake. Equipment malfunction. Software glitch. Something rational. THRYNN did that nervous clicking thing with his mandibles. "Sir, I have run it 14 times. The results are consistent." 14 times? This was either the biggest discovery in galactic history or the most elaborate prank the universe had ever played on me. I was betting on the prank. "Bring her in for secondary screening," I ordered. And that is how Maya Torres entered my life, looking completely unbothered by the fact that she was giving every scanning device we owned a collective nervous breakdown. She walked in wearing standard human casual attire. Jeans, I think they call them. A shirt with text that read, "I survived Monday." The other humans found it humorous, apparently. I did not understand Earth Day designations well enough to appreciate the joke. "So what's up, Doc?" she asked, flashing that peculiar human expression where they show their teeth. Not a threat display, despite how it looks. A smile. Took me ages to get used to that. "Please, sit." I gestured to the examination platform. "We need to run some additional tests." More tests. She raised one eyebrow, another confusing human gesture. "You guys already poked me with more needles than a pincushion. What's wrong? Did I fail the alien physical?" "Nothing is wrong exactly," I said, choosing my words carefully. "Your results are just very unusual." "Unusual how? How do you tell someone their DNA is rewriting the textbooks? That every cell in their body is committing acts of biological terrorism against established science? Your genetic structure is displaying properties we have never encountered before," I said finally. "Properties that should not be possible." She leaned back, crossing her arms. "Should not be possible? That sounds ominous. Am I going to explode or something?" No, nothing like that," I assured her quickly. "You are perfectly healthy. That is actually part of the problem." "Being healthy is a problem now." She laughed. Humans laugh when they are nervous too, apparently. Or happy. Or sad. Honestly, their emotional expressions are chaotic. THRYNN had set up the deep scanner, the one we use for really complicated cases. It cost more to run than my annual salary, but this warranted it. "If you would place your hand here," I indicated the scanning plate. Maya complied, still looking amused. The machine hummed to life, and within seconds, every display in the room lit up like a festival celebration. Okay, that seems dramatic, Maya observed. Dramatic? The scanners were having an existential crisis. Her cellular regeneration rate was through the ceiling. Her immune system was not just fighting off pathogens, it was learning from them, adapting in real time. And her neurons, bless stars, her neurons were forming new connections faster than our instruments could track. Tell me about your medical history, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Any unusual illnesses? Treatments? Genetic modifications? Nope, she said cheerfully. Pretty boring, actually. Had the flu once when I was 12. Broke my arm falling off a bike when I was 9. That's about it. No genetic therapy? No enhancement procedures. Are you kidding? Do you know how expensive that stuff is back home? I am just a regular human. Nothing special. Nothing special. She genuinely believed that. Meanwhile, her cells were casually violating the fundamental laws of biology, and she thought she was average. THRYNN pulled me aside, his eyes wide with panic. All 7 of them. Sir, her telomeres are lengthening during observation. That is impossible. Telomeres shorten with age. They do not grow. I can read the data, THRYNN. But sir, if they continue at this rate, theoretically, she could live for centuries. Maybe millennia. I looked back at Maya, who was now examining her fingernails with mild interest. This ordinary-looking human who thought breaking her arm once was the most exciting thing in her medical history. Let me ask you something, I said, returning to her side. How old are your oldest living relatives? She thought for a moment. My great-great-grandmother is still alive. She is like 112 or something. Sharp as ever. Still does crossword puzzles and complains about young people. 112 Earth years. For a species that typically lived 70 to 80 and still mentally active. Is that common among humans? Maya shrugged. Not super common, but not unheard of. We have got some people who live pretty long. Why? Because her great-great-grandmother's longevity was probably just the visible tip of whatever genetic marvel was happening in Maya's cells right now. But I could not tell her that. Not yet. Not until I understood what I was looking at. Just gathering information, I said smoothly. One more test. I need a small tissue sample. More needles. Awesome. But she held out her arm without complaint. I extracted the sample, barely a pinprick. Before I could even apply the standard coagulant, the tiny wound had sealed itself. Not healed. Sealed. As if it had never existed. Maya noticed my expression. What? It is just a tiny cut. They close up fast. How fast is fast exactly? I do not know, few seconds? She looked at me like I was the weird one. Does not everyone heal that quick? No, I said flatly. No, they absolutely do not. The tissue sample went straight into our most advanced analyzer. The one we usually reserve for unknown alien pathogens and exotic matter. Within minutes, it confirmed what I already suspected. Maya Torres was not just human. She was something more. Something evolution had been quietly cooking up on Earth while the rest of the galaxy was not paying attention. Her DNA contained sequences we had never seen. Not just variations on standard genetic code, but entirely new information storage methods. Her cells were using quantum states to process biological information. Quantum states. In organic tissue. That was pure theory. Something we thought might be possible in 1,000,000 years of directed evolution. Humans had been spacefaring for barely 200 years. Their medicine was primitive by galactic standards. Their genetic engineering was clumsy and heavily regulated. Yet somehow, naturally, they had produced this. Am I going to live? Maya asked, breaking my stunned silence. She was joking, but there was a hint of genuine concern in her voice. You are going to be fine, I assured her. Better than fine. At this rate, she might outlive the stars themselves. But I kept that part to myself. Because if the Galactic Council found out what Maya Torres represented, what humanity might become, the political fallout would make a supernova look like a mild disagreement. Some species in the council were already nervous about humans. Too aggressive, they said. Too unpredictable. Too stubborn to know when they were beaten. Giving them functional immortality and God-tier regeneration would not calm those concerns. Can I go? Maya asked. I have got a shift in engineering in an hour. Yes, of course, I said absently, still staring at the data. But I will need to see you again. More tests. Sure, whatever. She hopped off the platform. Just send me a message, or whatever you do here. I will try not to break any more of your machines. She left, completely unaware that she had just rewritten everything we thought we knew about biological possibility. THRYNN approached nervously. Sir, what do we do? Good question. Report this to the council and risk them treating humanity as a threat? Stay silent and possibly miss something dangerous? Try to understand how this happened and potentially unlock secrets that could benefit the entire galaxy? I looked at the scans again, at the impossible data, at the proof that somewhere on that little blue planet, evolution had decided to get creative. We figure out what makes her tick, I said finally. Quietly, very quietly. Because Maya Torres was not just a medical anomaly. She was a preview of what humanity might become. And I needed to know whether the galaxy was ready for that. Spoiler alert. It was not. So here's the thing about keeping galaxy-altering secrets. They do not stay secret for long. Especially when you have colleagues who cannot resist bragging about impossible discoveries to their friends over fermented beverages. I am looking at you, THRYNN. 3 days after Maya's examination, my office was suddenly very popular. Too popular. I had 6 requests for data access, for demands for sample sharing, and 2 very uncomfortable visits from council security asking why I had flagged a human file as restricted access. This was bad. This was monumentally bad. I called Maya back immediately. Emergency protocols. She showed up looking annoyed, carrying a half-eaten sandwich that smelled vaguely toxic. Human food often did. This better be important, she said, taking another bite. I was in the middle of recalibrating the plasma flow regulators. We have a problem, I told her, sealing my office door and activating the privacy field. Expensive, but necessary. Other people know about your test results. She stopped chewing. Okay, so what? Is that bad? It could be very bad. Maya, your genetic structure is unique. Unprecedented. There are species in the Galactic Council who would see you as a threat. Or, worse, an opportunity. An opportunity for what? Weaponization. Exploitation. Study without your consent. I pulled up the data on my display. Your DNA does not just heal faster. It adapts. It learns. Every pathogen you encounter, your immune system does not just fight it off. It incorporates the information, prepares for variations, builds defenses against things you have not even encountered yet. Maya put down her sandwich. Finally, I had her full attention. That sounds like a good thing, though. It is a good thing. For you. For humanity. But for species who have spent millions of years developing their biological defenses through slow evolution, watching a relative newcomer species possess such advantages. I shook my head. Politics gets complicated quickly. So what do I do? Pretend I am normal. Too late for that. The data is out there. But we need to understand how this happened. Is it just you, or is this common among humans? She thought about that, really thought about it. My family has always been weirdly healthy. My dad fell off a roof once, broke 3 ribs. Healed in like 2 weeks. My sister had appendicitis. They removed it. She was back to playing soccer in 4 days. We always figured we just had good genes. Good genes. That was like calling a fusion reactor a decent campfire. I need to examine other humans, I said. From your crew. Volunteers only. Can you arrange that? Yeah, I guess. But people are going to ask questions. Tell them it is a standard follow-up screening. Nothing alarming. She agreed, but I could see the concern in her eyes. Humans were good at reading subtext, despite their often blunt communication style. Over the next week, I examined 17 humans from the Wanderer. 17 samples. And every single one told the same, impossible story. They were all like Maya. Maybe not to the same degree, but every human showed enhanced regeneration, adaptive immunity, and those bizarre quantum state cellular processes. Every single one. This was not an anomaly. This was not a mutation. This was humanity's baseline. THRYNN was practically vibrating with anxiety. Sir, this means humans are evolving into something the galaxy has never seen. What if they become unstoppable? They are already pretty hard to stop, I muttered, remembering the human military records I had reviewed. Stubborn did not begin to cover it. But that was when things got really interesting. And by interesting, I mean terrifying. Dr. Kelvin, my colleague from the Xenogenic Warfare Division, showed up at my lab unannounced. He was a Thraxian, all scales and cold calculation. We had never gotten along. "Crix," he said, not bothering with pleasantries. "I hear you have been studying the human genome." "Routine medical screening," I lied smoothly. "Routine screenings do not require quantum-grade analyzers and restricted data protocols." His smile was not friendly. "I want access to your samples. That would require patient consent. I can get a council order." "Then get one." I crossed my arms, mimicking a human defensive posture. It felt appropriate. He leaned closer. "Do you have any idea what we could do with regenerative capabilities like that? The military applications alone would revolutionize combat medicine. Soldiers who heal in minutes. Operatives who cannot be poisoned. The strategic advantage would be enormous." And there it was. The thing I had been dreading. The moment someone looked at Maya Torres and saw not a person, but a resource. "Humans are protected under the Sapient Rights Act," I reminded him. "You cannot experiment on them without consent. Consent can be obtained, or worked around." He straightened. "This is bigger than your ethical concerns, Crix. This is about the security of the entire council." After he left, I sat in the dark for a long time. What had I done? I had opened a door that could not be closed. Maya and her species were about to become the galaxy's most wanted commodity. I needed help. Real help. So I did something desperate. I contacted an old friend, Professor Lissa, the only person in the galaxy I trusted completely. She was a Viridian, six-limbed, brilliant, and refreshingly uninterested in politics. She arrived within 2 days, reviewed my data in silence, then looked at me with all 4 of her eyes. "This is real," she said simply. "I know. Crix, do you understand what this means? Humans are not just another species. They are the next step, the biological leap forward that every species dreams about but never achieves naturally." "I know," I repeated miserably. "And now the council knows too." She began pacing, her thought limbs gesturing rapidly. "They will want to control this. Study it. Replicate it. And if humans refuse to cooperate, they will find ways to force cooperation. Quarantine Earth. Restrict human travel. Call it protective custody, but really it will be imprisonment. Can we stop it? Maybe. If we move fast." She turned to me. "We need to present this the right way. Not as a threat, but as an opportunity for alliance. Show the Council that partnering with humanity benefits everyone more than controlling them." It was a long shot, but it was the only shot we had. We prepared our presentation for 3 days straight. Charts, projections, comparative analyses. We showed how human regenerative abilities could revolutionize medicine across the galaxy. How their adaptive immunity could help develop universal vaccines. How cooperation, not exploitation, was the logical path forward. The council hearing was held in the Grand Chamber on Station Unity Prime. 43 species represented. Hundreds of delegates. All watching as Lissa and I made our case. We showed them everything. Maya scans. The crew data. The projections of what humanity might become in 1,000 years, 10,000 years. And then Maya herself stepped forward. I had asked her to attend, to speak for herself. She looked small on that massive stage, but she did not sound small. "I get it," she said, her voice carrying across the chamber. "We are weird. Our biology does things it should not do. But that is just who we are. We did not ask for this. We did not engineer it. This is just evolution doing its thing on a planet that really wanted to kill us for most of our history. Someone in the audience made a noise. Skepticism, maybe. Maya continued. You are scared we will become dangerous. Too powerful. Unstoppable. But here is the thing. We are already dangerous when you threaten us. Every species is. You want to lock us up? Study us like lab animals? That is how you make enemies. You want to work with us, share what we have learned about survival. She smiled that human smile. That is how you make friends. And trust me, you want humans as friends, not enemies. The chamber erupted in debate. Arguments flew in 40 different languages. But I saw something shifting. Not everyone was convinced, but enough were listening. Actually listening. Finally, Council Speaker Vren, for ancient and impossibly wise, raised a manipulator for silence. The human makes valid points, they said in their resonant voice. Fear-based decisions rarely lead to positive outcomes. I propose a partnership initiative. Humanity shares their medical knowledge voluntarily. The Council provides resources and protection. We grow together, not in opposition. The vote took 3 hours. But when it finished, the partnership initiative passed by a narrow margin. Maya found me afterward in the observation deck, watching the stars. Did we just save humanity from being the galaxy's lab rats? She asked. For now, I said honestly. This fight is not over. There will be factions who resist, who still see you as a threat. But today we bought time. We bought cooperation. We bought a chance. She stood beside me, silent for a moment. Then she laughed. That human laugh that I had learned meant relief mixed with exhausted humor. You know what is funny, she said. All this panic about human biology, about what we might become. We are still just trying to figure out how to get along with each other back home. Half our planet thinks pineapple on pizza is a crime against nature. Pineapple on what? Never mind. Point is, we are not some superspecies. We are just people. Weird people with overactive immune systems and cells that do not know when to quit. But still just people. Maybe that was the scariest part. They were just people. Regular, flawed, confused people. And yet their biology was quietly preparing them for something extraordinary. I looked at Maya Torres, this completely ordinary human who had accidentally broken every rule we thought we knew about life, and I realized something important. The galaxy was not ready for humanity. But humanity was not trying to be ready for the galaxy either. They were just showing up, being themselves, breaking things accidentally, and somehow making it work. Go home, I told her. Get some rest. And Maya? Try not to break any more fundamental laws of biology. She grinned. No promises, Doc. No promises. She left, and I stayed there watching the stars, wondering what other impossible things humans would casually accomplish while thinking they were completely normal. Somewhere on Earth, evolution was still working, still experimenting, still preparing humanity for a future the rest of us could barely imagine. And honestly, I could not wait to see what came next. Terrified, yes. But fascinated. Always fascinated. Because if Maya Torres taught me anything, it was this. The universe loves surprising us. And humans? Humans were the universe's favorite punchline. A punchline that might just save us all. Or drive us completely insane trying to understand them. Probably both.